celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on AM 650.
Welcome back to Boomer Life. My name is Simone Greywall. Today we're focusing on energy. That whole feeling after we're out of the season of winter, we want to feel refreshed. We want that renewal. It's the season for it. Joining me in studio, Greg Semkuley, who is the sales manager at Enerex Botanicals, and Carol Kareena, who is a nutritionist and health journalist. We've talked a little bit about, again, foods that we should avoid eating to feel energized, some things we should have. Lifestyle, obviously, is a very important part. Your exercise goes along with the diet. So what are some things we could be focusing on to help us get some higher levels of energy?
Several, as we know, but one of them, of course, is sleep. And we actually do need at least 8 hours of sleep. I know some people say they can get by with less than that, but if you think about 200 years ago, we used to go to sleep when the sun went down and get up when the sun rose, and that was at least 9 hours. And the research now shows that we need that deep REM time between 11 and 2 in the morning, and our dreaming time between 4 in the morning and 7 in the morning to feel really energized and happy in the morning. Dreaming, they say, is a stress release. That's why we dream partly. So we definitely need sleep. Water, I say get at least 1.5 liters a day. When your body gets dehydrated, your metabolism slows right down, just like if you skip a meal, because water is so vital to so many different systems in your body. And we all know that you can only live a few days without water. So if you're running low, you're dehydrated, your body's going to slow right down to protect you, because it doesn't want to use any of that precious resource up. So of course your metabolism is going to go down. And also I'd just like to say that if you are if you're thirsty, then you're already dehydrated. So you need to drink before you're thirsty. And so many people don't do that.
And certain foods are what is making us feel dehydrated. Sometimes certain carbs and that feeling of fullness, or even just caffeine when we're having caffeinated products, that's actually making us a little more dehydrated in our body. So you kind of need to counteract with more water if you're going to have sugary and caffeinated beverages.
That's right. Often the 3 p.m. lag is caused by dehydration. Less water, but we tend to, what do we grab for? The salty snacks and the caffeine, and of course they dehydrate you even more, so it becomes a vicious circle.
Caffeine actually works as a diuretic in the body, so it's actually counterproductive in that regard.
Exactly.
And sometimes, you might be feeling sluggish because you're overeating. You're eating more than you need to, and that could also be because you're not getting enough water and your body is feeling hungry. So it's signaling you to eat, but you might just need a couple glasses of water to hold you over.
That's right. People often can't identify the difference in the feelings between dehydration and thirst and the hunger. So I would say just wait take a drink of water and wait about 20 minutes before you actually dive into some food, especially if you're trying to lose some weight.
And it's a really good idea to have water first thing in the morning, because your body's now just been in this state of rest, hopefully, if you've had those 8 hours of sleep. But that's often when you are feeling thirsty and dehydrated. So it's probably a better idea to start with some kind of a green smoothie or water, as opposed to grabbing the coffee right off the top and having that be the first thing in your body.
Exactly. And actually talking about the morning, another lifestyle habit is exercise. They've found that your stress hormone, again, cortisol, is actually highest in the morning. So they say it's best to exercise in the morning to get rid of some of that extra cortisol. And of course, right after exercise, it's the best time to have a smoothie to replenish those nutrients that you're losing when you're exercising. And also, when you're exercising, you cause free radicals. And we've all heard about these dreaded free radicals, but exercise actually causes them. And the greens have lots of antioxidants in them to combat the free radicals as well.
So how much exercise are we talking in the morning? So say, you've got a busy day ahead and you can't get to it. What's a good amount that you should be able to set aside? Maybe 20 minutes, if you could just do a quick...
I say it depends, of course, on whether you want to lose weight or if you just want to energize, but definitely a good 20 minutes to half an hour to energize yourself. And personally, I do think that you need the hour at least 4 times a week to actually lose some weight, if that's your goal.
Now, Greg, tell us, how does something green give us more energy? We're talking about this product called greens, but how does it give us that energy?
Well, we've talked a lot about the nutrients that are in these different plants, and of course they're supplying the nutrients for our body to actually make it work. So our body is like a machine. You have to feed it the nutrients to actually make it work and turn over. So if you think of a car, it has to have gas, it has to have the oil, it has to have the antifreeze as well too. So all these parts to make it work. And our body is very much like that as well too. But with the greens, one of the things and probably key components to the product is that they are green, and the main constituent of it being green is chlorophyll. And chlorophyll in itself is very similar to a product in our body, which is called heme, or a part of hemoglobin, which is in our blood. And that's what carries the oxygen in our body. They're very, very similar structurally in the molecular way. There's only a difference between the middle compound to them. So that similarity, the chlorophyll is kind of like the blood of the plant, and we have our own blood, and that's what transports all these nutrients, but it supplies oxygen for our body. So as much as we need the antioxidants, we have to have oxygen as well too to literally make our bodies operate. So chlorophyll is very important for supplying bits of oxygen to our body as well too, transporting it throughout the body and making it work as well too. So oxygenation is very, very important as well. These greens are also a good source of the proteins and carbohydrates, and that, again, those components that we need to stimulate the energy production in our body right down to the molecular level, and that's what it's supplying as well too. So there's a great host of just the vital compounds of, again, the vitamins or the trace minerals, but the chlorophyll is a big part of that as well.
If you're just joining us, this is Boomer Life on AM 650 with Simone Greywall. We're focusing on getting energized. In studio with us, Greg Semkuley, the sales manager at Enerex Botanicals, and Carol Kareena, who is a nutritionist and health journalist. So are there any other benefits to greens besides boosting your energy?
Well, energy is one of the main things that people are looking for as a benefit out of this product, but probably the other aspect that we look for in greens is because they are a vegetarian source, they're very good for keeping our body in an alkaline environment. So with today's, we talked earlier in terms of our stresses and the get up and go and trying to look at ways to keep us energized. And in that type of mode, it doesn't matter how old we are, whether we are young or midlife or in the boomer age, that get up and go and the stresses on life, that stress has a big impact on our body, and it tends to create us and put us into a little bit more acidic environment. So it's very important that we maintain that alkalinity in our body. And our body has the means to do that in the blood. There's a certain pH range that it wants to stay into, but there are certain parts of our body, like our stomach, that must be acidic because that stomach acid is there to kill bacteria or pathogens from invading our body and making us sick. But overall, we want to eat foods that are more alkaline, alkalizing to our bodies. If we become too acidic, then that really leads us down to a path to disease. And disease tends to foster itself more in an acidic environment. So the more that we can become a little bit more alkaline, then that's a big difference for making sure that we're preventing disease down the road.
And I just wanted to mention that the acidity is often caused by foods too. So red meat and dairy and processed grains, again, those carbs, sugar, coffee, and alcohol, those are the most acidic foods that we have in our lifestyle. And we probably remember way back in chemistry class in high school, we talked about alkaline and acid and how they kind of neutralize each other. So that's why getting more of the vegetables that are alkaline, if you're having all the red meat and the dairy, it kind of helps to balance those all so that you don't get to the diseases like the arthritis and the cancer and those type of things that they say are actually caused partly by acidity.
So what are some foods that can help with the body's alkalinity?
Like I was saying, any types of vegetables, they're all very alkaline. So all types of fruits, vegetables that you can think of are completely alkaline.
How do you know that your body is off balance in terms of we don't have enough alkalinity or it's too acidic? What would be kind of the feelings that you're experiencing if you're at home right now and you might think you have enough vegetables in your diet. You might think that you're not, your diet's, you're not too acidic when it comes to your body. But what would be, the lack of energy? What are some other factors you might be feeling if you're a little out of balance?
With acidity?
just in general with the body?
Oh, well, you're certainly going to feel not just sluggish, but I mentioned the constipation. That's often like the Chinese of thousands of years ago felt that disease started in the gut. And everything that happens with the gut, of course, the bowel movements, that's a symptom of what's going on inside. So something like the greens that we were talking about, the nice fibrous vegetables, they keep that system going and it keeps it nice, flowing smoothly. So it shows that in the bowel movements that you're very healthy.
You might also get more aches and pains in the joints, for example, where the acidity tends to deposit a little bit more. So people with gout, for example, where the uric acid deposits into the joints, greens is an excellent product for that as well too. As we mentioned earlier, the arthritis and that type of thing. You might get a little bit more brain fog, and that's a number of different things from the dehydration to acidity as well too. So again, these are something that could really help with that.
Anything else? Because those are great. I mean, if somebody's got gout or pain in their joint, any kind of other thing. Do you know of any other cases where people are using greens?
Well, greens again for alkalinity, just maybe for themselves. Again, the energy, digestive issues, as Carol mentioned as well too. So just to avoid any gas or digestive issues that may happen, heartburn, those type of things too. So that's a symptom of a proper functioning of the digestive tract as well too. Skin conditions is another thing people help. So if again, Carol just mentioned that, a lot of ills, and even some of the medical doctors we talked to today too, a lot of the ills that we have today are rooted in a digestive system. So here you've got a greens product that supplies a lot of nutrients to that. It has probiotics in there as well too. So that is a key factor to make sure that the whole digestive system is working properly, but our immune system too. So that's where you can get an immune boost out of a product like this as well, because it's supplying those good probiotics that is for our first line of defense.
And it also has a lot of enzymes in it. And so, Greg, when you were talking about digestion, enzymes are so important. A lot of people now are taking supplemental enzymes just to help your digestion. And so if you have acid reflux or you always have kind of a heavy stomach after you're eating foods that are difficult to digest, this is something that you can get all those protein. And like protein often is hard to digest.
Just
like
to break
animal
down in the
protein.
body.
Yes, exactly. So this is an easy way to get it that's very digestible and absorbable.
And that's one difference with the product like this, is because the greens are actually juiced as compared to being dried and powdered, is that the enzymes are actually live in this product. You won't get that in a product that may be dried or powdered that way. You'd have to go to an external enzyme product in that case. But here they're live. They'll help to break that food down and allow the body to absorb all those nutrients that it's providing into our body.
You're listening to Boomer Life on AM 650. My name is Simone Greywall. We're focusing on getting energized. We'll be back and we'll get you all the information on where you can pick up this product right after this break on AM 650.
Canada's only weekly radio show dedicated to the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on AM 650.